if we take a ridiculous detour before we get back to science, what creature in the history of Earth would challenge a T-Rex in a fight, would you say? What
on land?
On land.
I mean, nothing reasonably. Like the really big ones are going to be... The only other thing you can really add is this might be a very British adage of, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. So yeah, maybe there's something a bit smaller, which is just hyper aggressive, and that would be enough to win. Like the classic honey badgers chasing off lions. It's not that a honey badger would win in a fight, but if the honey badger is prepared to put up that much of a fight and the lion really doesn't want to get hurt, then he kind of technically wins.
You can't imagine like any of the cats can't, like tigers, and none of them can do. I mean, the size difference, the power of the jaw, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but going to T-Rex, like what could reasonably challenge it? There's a couple of other giant tyrannosaurs. There's a couple of giant carcharodontosaurs from South America that are comparable in linear measurements, but are probably rather smaller and rather lighter, in which case your money's going to be on the bigger guy with the bigger bite. And that simply is T-Rex.
And the bite is important.
Yeah, I think it is, because these guys, the carcharodontosaurs, they're much more cutting, and they're really killing stuff, probably by grappling with the arms, because they do have big muscular arms with big claws, and then slashing away at stuff. So I think they're probably doing something more like, almost like wolves or hyena or hunting dog, where they're harrying stuff and slashing at it, and you're basically bleeding them out and wearing them down.
So what about that strategy? So maybe you could speak to biting strategy. So T-Rex is I guess a relatively slow bite, but extremely powerful. What about animals that have very fast bites?
So it's very simple mechanics. If you have a very long jaw, you're going to close faster, but with less power at the tip than if you have a really short one that's deep. And so that really is it. But yeah, let's say there's things like the Aeoramines, and then there's things like Velociraptor and a lot of its relatives, really very, and not just small, but narrow. It is narrow snouted. There's not going to be a lot of fundamental strength here. The teeth, very numerous, very small. So they're much more about grabbing something tiny. Velociraptor's eating rat-sized stuff. That's going to be probably its primary diet.
So I wonder if there's a bunch of smaller, fast-biting things that could just bleed a T-Rex to death.
They're going to struggle, though. I remember doing some work for one documentary, and they literally wanted Velociraptor fighting a T-Rex. And so, like, you do know this is like, we're going to shoot some meerkats killing a lion. And it's like, well, you can film it, but no one would believe it, because, these ankle-high things trying to, like, savage a shin bone are... Yeah, I'm sure they'll make some holes and it'll lose some blood and it may not be very happy, but I don't think they're going to win.
The size of Velociraptor was exaggerated by Jurassic Park.
Enormously. I mean, they get a bit bigger than this in terms of the skull. But yeah, they're kind of thigh high to me, like a meter or so to the top of the head, 2 meters long. Whereas in the movies, they're like standing taller than guys who are 6 foot. So it's just massively, massively scaled up. And then these kind of big, kind of domey heads, then they're not the really long, narrow snout